Hey guys, it's Garrett here, and as a lot of you know, if you kind of follow me on Mastodon or just generally know me, I am a huge Linux fan, and well, if you didn't know that, I'm a huge Linux fan. But also, I found that I kind of have to use Windows for a few things. One of them is for classes because some of my computer science classes use Visual Studio, which is obviously only on Windows. They have a Mac version, but it's different enough that it doesn't work, and there obviously is no Linux version. And also, admittedly, for some games, right now there are games that I can play on other consoles and stuff I have, but there are also games coming out that are only for Xbox and PC, and so until those kind of get to work through Proton and stuff, then I'd probably need Windows to run them. But yeah, basically, kind of using both was a little hard originally. Like, yeah, there's dual boot, but to switch between them, you'd have to turn your computer off and on again all the time, which got to be a bit of a hassle if you, for me, when I'd like switch between doing homework and doing other things, especially if I did that a lot. So I also could have done virtual machines, but like VirtualBox and stuff tends to make my laptop run a bit warm and use the battery, and I really don't want that to happen. And so I thought, why not use the Windows subsystem for Linux, which is a very, I think, a very elegant implementation of having kind of a Linux environment within Windows. So I kind of decided to try and use the Windows subsystem for Linux to get a bit of a Linux environment inside of Windows so that I wouldn't have to keep switching back and forth, and it would use a lot less battery and produce a lot less heat, etc. And so I kind of got it set up. I've gotten most of the stuff I want working to work, and I'll keep trying to get it to work as much as I can, uh, and kind of use it and give like a full review later on. But I figured I'd give a little tour just to kind of show you what's kind of the close to final setup. And so let me kind of minimize myself here. Yeah. So this is kind of my setup here. Obviously, it's Windows 11. Uh, there's not much else to say on that note, but you'll notice a lot of things down here with the Linux icon, or that are the Linux icon. These are all Linux apps. So if you aren't familiar with the Windows subsystem for Linux, basically it's a system that allows you to run a Linux environment just within Windows. You go to the Microsoft Store, choose which distro, and install it and set it up, and it's quick and easy. Uh, and so if I type WSL, it'll launch into my Debian system. And sometimes it'll take a bit longer, but I've already got it running in a few apps here. But then you basically got a terminal, and you can uh, just install about anything, just like you can in, let's just say, just type because that's what popped into mind. Basically, you can install things like you can in Linux. I won't install all that. Any Linux command, you're basically running a Linux distro inside of this. And as far as apps go, you've noticed some of these, and you can actually launch apps like got Chromium here, and you can see I have Chromium with this little Linux indicator down here, which means it's running in Linux. And I think about Chromium, does it say, yeah, built on Debian, running on Debian, 64-bit. So this isn't just like Chromium running in Windows that I'm trying to pass off. But yeah, everything works pretty well. And obviously, to launch an application, you just launch whatever application you want. Still need to set up Thunderbird. Uh, but yeah, it's just imagine how you'd use any old Linux system, and you basically got a Linux system just running as if Windows is a Linux system almost. Uh, Obviously, there are some caveats so far. First off, you can't use whatever desktop environment you want well, actually, that's a lie. You totally can. You have to do a little bit of workaround, either through uh, a like X. Why am I forgetting X server of some sort, like an app that runs in an X server, or through the remote desktop protocol. Basically, just installing whatever desktop environment you want. Some don't work. Some work but are kind of slow. Others work really well, and that's actually kind of why I don't have a desktop environment set up here, because the only ones that worked well didn't scale well to my framework laptop's display, and so I'm kind of just running it as if all of this is Linux, but it's also Windows at the same time, if that makes sense. But I also have this other mode. I call it hacker mode, because I have the terminal, uh, Terminator terminal. Absolutely love this terminal. You can, I can't really do it on here, but you can basically split it in different ways, like I have here. And basically, hacker mode is when I just go full screen and just use a terminal UI. So, like right here, I've got a web browser. Right here, I've got a Mastodon client. Right here is actually a little script I was writing for like the full review of some sort, uh, before I decided to kind of split things up and see it all works the way as a terminal does. And yeah, I call it hacker mode kind of because it looks like what everyone in the movies thinks a hacker's setup would look like, just a bunch of terminals all over and stuff like that. Uh, I kind of took inspiration for it a bit from there was actually a friend of mine on my Mastodon instance that I have an account on Fostodon, who is making a laptop that just has a terminal, or maybe it's a desktop, but it just has a terminal UI, and I thought that was kind of cool. And also, the way I have it set up is kind of inspired by the movie The Fifth. No, it's not The Fifth Element. It's The Fifth Estate. It's the movie about Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, and they all have user interfaces that just look like a terminal split into like multiple windows. So that's kind of all where I got this. So I can kind of just use this if I'm in the mood to use something like this, and if not, then I can obviously exit full screen and not use it like that and just use it in a normal way. So yeah, that's basically my quick little walkthrough on this. I want to use it a bit, give a full review of how this is as someone who uses Linux. I'm totally not expecting this to be as good as just using straight Linux, but I feel like this will be a good kind of compromise for someone who has to use Windows and wants to use Linux without constantly rebooting everything and all that stuff. So I think I'm gonna like this generally, and who knows, I might be done with it soon and just decide to dual boot stuff, but we'll see. I'm kind of hoping this works really well and that I can just use this until I don't have to use Windows anymore, and then I can just use a straight up Linux environment. What are you just going in a bag? Um, Anyway, that's about all I have for this video. I'll try to post a bit more. It's summer, so I don't have a lot going on, just work. Uh, and I already have a video of like repairing the framework laptop that I just haven't edited yet, so that'll be coming soon. I won't have to do a lot of editing on this, so I'll probably post this very soon after recording. Uh, but yeah, thanks for watching. Obviously, hit whatever buttons you want down there if you liked it or disliked it or whatever. Uh, and if you don't want to, that's fine. But yeah, I'll see you guys later.